Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Premium Interviews. I'm your host, Barry, and today I am joined by the very, very talented and amazing Michael and Matthew Toronto, the developers behind Tadpole Treble Encore.
Oh, thank you, Barry. Hi, everyone.
Hey Barry, hey everyone.
Yes, and for those of you that may not know, Tadpole Treble Encore is part of our Series 8. You can get the physical editions right now at premiumeditiongames.com. But we wanted to sit down and talk with you two brothers just a little bit about everything going on and about the creation of this game and just some history and let the readers and the watchers and the supporters get to know you a little bit more. So first off, thank you again for joining me, and I'm just going to start off simple. Let's let you guys both introduce yourselves to everybody.
Okay, I guess I'll go first. I'm Matthew Toronto. I'm a lifelong Nintendo fan, as you might be able to surmise from my office. Yeah, I've always wanted to play video game. I've always played video games. I've always wanted to make a video game, and you might know me from some other things online. I did the webcomic Brawl in the Family. I currently am doing musical songs about Nintendo games called Bit Musical, and I wrote a book with Howard Phillips called Game Master Classified. And that's it.
Cool. And I'm Michael. Hi everyone. Also lifelong player of video games, and yeah, I just always wanted to make a game with my brother Matthew, and so we formed Bitfinity for that purpose. Running Bitfinity, we released Tadpole Treble Encore for the Switch. Currently, I produce for other software companies as well, including Pixel Dash Studios.
That's awesome. So, you both mentioned lifelong gamers. What is your background in that gaming field, and how did you really kind of get into the fact of let's make a game?
I used to draw like Mega Man characters a lot, like new bosses, like here's Scorpion Man, that type of game just kind of gets my creativity going. And it was kind of like that for a lot of games. We started with the NES in like, what was it, like 88? Christmas 88, I want to say.
Yeah.
So I was 3, so it left a pretty big impression just seeing all these worlds and characters you could control. And yeah, I would draw a lot. I would make up stuff, make up levels. And eventually that kind of turned into more original ideas of our own. And yeah, it kind of evolved into this sort of music game idea that we came up with. It was actually quite a ways ago. It was probably 20 years ago that we came up with the initial idea, and had been just sort of looking at ways to make it into a reality.
Yeah, I think the point that it turned into that was after we started creating videos using our VCR, recorder, and we would create, movies and stuff like that. And
they were great.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, when the software became accessible, like Unity, more accessible for people to develop games, we were able to take the ideas that we created in the past and start putting them in digitally and start creating a game that way.
Yep.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember the old making movies and stuff with the VCR and the camcorder and all that. Yeah, man, that brings me back. So you mentioned this is 20 years ago. You came up with the idea of Tadpole. Where did that really stem from? Like was it just a love of music, or like what spurred that on? Was it Mega Man? Was it?
Well, yeah, Mega Man was just like I love. It's just such a great premise. Just like, here's Mega Man, here's 8 characters with Theme Man, and then it's just you make a game. But yeah, the music thing was, we've always been big into music. Michael plays trombone, I play tenor sax and piano, and we both sing. Michael also plays guitar. And my dad is a composer and a pianist as well, and he would make songs in a program called Finale. And I would watch him as a kid or a young teenager, and I would see like the bars go across the screen, and it would play the music as the line went across, and the notes would come across, do 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 do. And I thought that's kind of like a side scroller, It's like the screen is going, you're coming across different objects of interest, and things are happening. And I thought it'd be cool if there was a video game where you were the level was actually the sheet music itself, and the notes, of course, would be the obstacles, and you'd have to dodge them. And then we thought, I guess from there we thought, what would do that? Maybe like a fish or something, a tadpole. you could swim up and down, and that's pretty much how the original concept came to be.
That's really cool. So let's look back when you first launched the game. You launched it via Kickstarter, something that a lot of developers do, and something that we work with at Premium as well. What was that like? Bringing Tadpole to Kickstarter.
Oh, Michael, you wanna
Oh,
take?
yeah, that was. I mean, Matthew luckily had experience with his webcomic, Brawl in the Family, where he was able to release his books from his online comics. So using his experience, we were able to essentially say, okay, let's try these different tiers. Let's try to get a level that was a demo we could then send to his fan base and start then getting this kind of this feel for if we did actually have a clientele for this product. And once we had that going, then we were like, okay, cool. Looks like this is going to work out. Let's then create. Let's put some more money into it. We're going to need a Kickstarter for this. And so to reach out to do a Kickstarter was definitely an experience. It was definitely very harrowing if you ever done it. It's nerve-wracking at times.
Yep. Yeah, like Michael said, I had a little bit of experience with Kickstarter because I had released my volume 1 of my book. So this Tadpole Treble was the second Kickstarter I did, but it was a little more challenging because it was a much smaller product, like in terms of cost. So you needed more customers to be able to hit that benchmark, and it was also something that people were unfamiliar with. It was a new IP, I guess. It wasn't just like you like these comics already. Here's a book. It's more, here is a new thing. I hope you like it. So yeah, it is tricky. You can't just pop it up there and then sit back 30 days and then make money. You gotta be working. You gotta be marketing, and marketing's not really my thing. A lot of the time I'm more of a behind the scenes making stuff kind of guy. So it was a challenge, but we did pretty well. We ended up hitting our goal. We exceeded it by a few thousand. So I guess everything worked out in the end.
No, that's great. Now, obviously, when you did the Kickstarter, it was for Tadpole Treble on the Wii U, which some people listening may not be even familiar with the Wii U due to marketing, Nintendo's failed marketing. So what was that like working with Nintendo and working on the Wii U hardware? Now that that's defunct, and unfortunately, people watching this cannot actually play the Wii U version anymore.
Right. Well, the Wii U, even the initial Kickstarter, the Wii U was a stretch goal. It was going to be for a higher tier. It was just going to be for the PC, and then we'd hopefully hit the Wii U goal. We didn't end up hitting the Wii U goal, but we decided to put our money into it because we wanted to be on a Nintendo platform as well, just because of all the Nintendo history. And the Wii U is a quirky little thing, but it worked pretty well for our game because we had this composition mode where you can make your own songs and levels, very Mario Paint inspired. And using the Wii U, you could just use it as a touch screen and a second, screen separate from the TV. So it worked pretty well. But Michael, how about you tell Barry a little bit about the experience working with Nintendo for that?
Yeah, so the Wii U has a dev kit. It did require some financial backing from our Kickstarter to buy that dev kit. I believe it was something like $2,500 or $3,000. The Switch dev kits are much cheaper nowadays. Now you just essentially buy a Switch for the dev kit. But the Wii U dev kit also would crash from the littlest error that was thrown from Unity. So, and of course, then you would have to reboot it, go through the whole process, and then of course going through lot check with Nintendo. Making sure you reached all the regulations and rules. That process took a long time too, but it was well worth it because from our experience, we were able to port it to the Switch and enhance it, and so it was the right decision to go with the Wii U, even though initially it didn't pay off. With the Switch, we were able to reach a broader audience with that.
We had a good foot in our door with Nintendo as well. We had a relationship with them, even though I started that relationship off on the wrong foot.
Oh yeah, that was bad.
I'll tell a little story. Just a little story. I had been getting a lot of calls, a lot of spam calls, right, on my phone at the time. A lot of people trying to sell me insurance. So, you can see where this is going. One day, I figured I had enough. I got a call from an unknown number. I opened the phone. If it's flip phone, I opened it. And I said, Okay, fine. I'll buy your insurance. I'll buy all the insurance. Please keep selling me insurance. I love the insurance. If I don't get another call from you, I'll be terrified. I'll kill myself. I said something, some long string of insanity to hopefully, make these people stop. All right. Then I hang up, and then 5 minutes later I get an email. It's from a guy from Nintendo of America. He says, "Mr. Toronto, I got a weird voicemail or something when I tried to call you just now. Is this the correct number?" So I had to say, holy cow. Here I am, the lifelong Nintendo fan, the guy that made 600 comics with Kirby and other Nintendo characters, right? And I just got my opportunity of a lifetime to make a game for Nintendo, and I flip out and I yell at them some insanity, right? So, of course, I had to apologize profusely. I don't remember even what I had said. I don't know if I tried to lie and cover my tracks, like, oh, I thought you were someone else, but anyway, it ended up working out. But yeah, that was kind of got off on the wrong foot there.
And forwarded calls from then on went to me.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
Michael was our PR guy.
Oh, that's funny. So you're lucky Nintendo even allowed you to bring this game to the Switch. So speaking of that, were there any challenges bringing the Wii U with the gamepad and all that to the Switch, or was it relatively easy transfer?
Michael?
Yeah, there was some difficulty with that, mainly through the software that we use, Unity. Unity had to be up to compliance with Nintendo, and so that meant it had to be a certain Unity version. And so the version we made for the Wii U was different than the version we made for the Switch, which meant updating it, which it worked out anyway because we wanted to add additional content, such as levels and more songs and that additional content. So yeah, it was a little bit of a headache. But once we got through the initial breakthrough, as far as like getting it to run on the latest Unity, it was a little bit easier, obviously, than creating from scratch for the Wii U.
There was one bit of art that we lost because the load times were so much faster on the Switch that I made this little hand-drawn animation of Baton turning into a frog and then leaving an egg, and then the egg turning into Baton turning into a frog, and it would go through that a couple times in the Wii U version. But when we played the Switch version, it was so fast that you never even saw the animation. So that little bit of art is actually, like, I guess a Wii U or Steam exclusive now because the load times are so much quicker on the Switch. So I hadn't foreseen that little cut there.
Yeah, there are a lot of games like that where they give you like tool tips or something and a load, and like when it's brought to another system, it's like you have no time to read that. It's like, all right, thanks, that was impossible. So that's interesting. Too bad that little animation was lost. But yeah, it makes sense. So I do want to ask you, because we just had our spring direct not too long ago, and everyone I've talked with absolutely loves the presentation that you put on. You did a little skit, and if someone's watching this that hasn't seen that yet, please go check out the direct. A lot of great stuff in there, and of course your skit being one of them. Just can you talk a little bit about that? Just because I get asked all the time, and people really love that. Like, where did that come from? What was the genius behind it, so to speak?
I think it definitely stems from our childhood with the cameras. It's like, when we just come up with kind of a goofy idea and we just run with it, we're like, okay, let's just, how about we're both a couple of aristocratic guys and I've got a pipe and we're like, yes, we like to collect video games. And we actually borrowed my dad's dog for that. That was his voice at the end saying, give me back my dog. And that was his dog, because I don't know. I just thought people like animals, they like looking at animals. Whenever I see someone holding like a pet or something, I'm just watching the animal, see what it does. So I thought that would add some visual interest. So, and he was like a little too big to be a lap dog. So I thought that was fun too, just having this big old white fluffy dog. Michael, how did we come up with that? I think we were just kind of brainstorming, right?
I think I was dog sitting. Was that?
Yeah, you had.
I was dog sitting. So we were just looking around for stuff to put in the video. I mean, we initially wanted to do the Bond villain thing where you have the pet. But then we want.
It's like this. Hello.
Yeah. Hello, Sky. But then we want to swap. Then we want to swap it midway. So then I was holding it.
Oh yeah. The dog teleports.
We also like inaccuracies on video. That's always hilarious. Whenever things don't, they're not they're not continuous.
Honestly, a lot of people commented about the dog teleporting, and they loved it. They said
Okay.
like that was just one of those things that they were looking for other things like that. They thought that was on. I thought that was on purpose too. I
It
thought
was
you
it
were
was
just
on
being
purpose, yeah.
funny. But
It was intentional.
that was great, and if you haven't checked it out, please check that out. So I have to ask, Tadpole Treble Encore came out a little while ago. What about you guys? What's next for Bitfinity? Are you guys planning a new game, a new project, a sequel to this? What's next for you guys?
Well, we've talked about a sequel, but we're most likely going to we're kind of brainstorming right now a new game actually. I can't confirm that it's 100% going to happen, but we're definitely in talks, and it'd be something that's if it happened, it'd be something that's pretty different from Tadpole Treble actually. Something that's lets us stretch out some different different muscles, I guess. I might actually have
definitely have a tadpole in it, more than like.
A little reference, little Tadpole reference.
Little Tadpole reference, of course. I'm trying to find. I there was one day where I just sketched up a bunch of ideas for Tadpole Treble 2. Just like, oh, what if I could make a sequel? I just drew up a bunch of ideas. I can't find it right now, but I might put it online some point. It's probably probably not going to happen, but it's just fun to think about.
Was it Tadpole in Space?
Tadpoles in space.
Put a little space helmet on it and everything.
Gotta go bigger and bolder.
Well, I'm sure everybody watching is interested. I'm curious to see what you guys do for sure, and I'm excited for this new project. I want to see you guys, spread your wings and really stretch your ideas. And you're very creative, very talented. So I'm sure everybody is in for a true delight if this ever comes to fruition.
Okay.
So I do want to ask you guys quickly, just what's a message that you would like to tell somebody listening? Maybe someone's watching this and they haven't pulled the trigger yet on Tadpole Treble and they're kind of interested in it. What's a message you would like to say to them about why they should play Tadpole Treble Encore?
I think it's a very appealing game because it's a different idea. It's quirky and unique. It's family friendly for those of you that have kids. We had a lot of fun with it. We just put a lot of our personalities into it. Every level has its own song, and it's kind of like a goofy musical, or like almost like going through like a Disney ride, like Splash Mountain or something, where there's just all sorts of things that are happening, one-time events and quirky things and memorable moments. We just wanted to make a game that's charming and creative, and I think a lot of people enjoy it for those reasons.
Yeah, I feel like whenever you hear the word passion project, this is pretty much very much a passion project. I mean, essentially our for a couple of years, our entire idea of what fun should be went into these game levels. So each level is unique, and we wanted to approach it from the idea of how can we make the player have a fun time. Like most games today, sometimes you're just not having fun, and it's just like, well, what's the point, if you're not having fun? And we when creating the levels, we initially said, okay, what would be fun here, and then we kind of went that direction. So
I surprise the player,
right? So I hope and I know when people play the game, they have a good time and they have a fun time.
Yeah, I know we all had a fun time, and everyone we know who has played the game has said that. So if you have heard this, or you watched this whole interview and you really decided you want to give Tadpole Treble a try, you can, and you can go to premiumeditiongames.com right now, where you can pre-order the standard and the retro edition of Tadpole Treble Encore, as well as the mega pack that includes everything in Series 8. And we hope you do, and hope you check out all of our socials. But if you want to look at more stuff from Matthew and from Mike, there are a couple things you can do. You can go to facebook.com/Tadpole Treble, and you could follow all of their exploits there, as well as was mentioned before about the Game Master Classified Digital Edition. That is available right now on the webpage. You can go to gamemasterclassified.backerkit.com/hosted_pre-orders. And if you want to follow Matthew on Twitter, you can go to Matthew P Toronto, and you could follow him there. So please, you show some love to these wonderful brothers here that have created this phenomenal game that is called Tadpole Treble Encore. Thank you, both of you, for joining me today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Barry. Thanks, everyone.
And until next time, happy gaming, everyone.